If you're new to the channel, I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. I'm not very good at putting. The highs and lows are extremely frustrating, but from 10 foot and in is where I really struggle. Today, we're at Gatwick Golf Studio, and we're gonna get fit for a brand new putter shaft. Not putter head, putter shaft. It's a brand new KBS GPS Tour graphite putter shaft, and I've got someone very special in there who's gonna help me out. Let's go in now and see how I get on. Right guys, so we are here in the amazing Gatwick Golf Studio. We've got a GC quad, tons of options, but we're in the putting green to try and fix my putting. This here is Jackson, the expert fitter today. We've got KBS, a brand new graphite KBS shaft that we're gonna put in this ping putter and see the difference. Jackson, is this gonna improve my putting? Be honest.
Potentially. It's, so the shaft itself, as opposed to sort of like a normal steel shaft, which sort of historically are quite soft in terms of how they flex. These KBS stability shafts are very thick, obviously with the graphite, hair heavier, essentially designed to reduce like inertia, right? So what I mean by that is, if there's any off-center hits, it's essentially reducing sort of twisting in the shaft. So if you're someone that does hit it across the face when they hit bad putts, we're just trying to keep that face as stable as we can, giving it our best chance to hit it on line. Because of the flex of it, essentially, if you're someone that delivers inconsistencies with loft from range, which will then equate to inconsistency with distances and speed control, it does the same job there. So very much dependent on what your tendencies are. Yes. But I mean, it definitely suits a lot of people. So it could be very good.
Yeah, no, it'd be cool to find out an ultra stiff low top shaft, comparing it against this steel shaft that I've got in my ping putter. It'd be a good test, and we're going to give you guys a lot of data as well. So we're going to get that set up. Going to try this putter out first with its standard shaft, then change it over to the fancy KBS shaft with an array of colours and see what happens. Ready?
Let's do it.
Good stuff. Right, so we're all set up now. And what have you actually done to this putter now? What data are we getting today?
So what I've put on there is a system called Capto, and it's sort of very similar to like a TrackMan or a quad in regards to what it measures. Okay. But it just measures all the parameters of your stroke. So we're going to be able to see, like I said, sort of face twist, inertia. We're going to be able to see loft presented, path, angle of attack, all that sort of fun stuff that we all like. And we'll just run our way through it and see what sort of data we're getting through this, obviously compared to.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and hit a few putts?
Whenever you're ready, I'll get you to hit sort of 5 or 6, just sort of base putts.
Okay.
And then we'll put the laser down and start testing different strike locations and see what we get in terms of that shaft.
Interesting, okay.
So what would you say is a tendency your bad putt is, Alex? If you hit one in terms of direction, what way would you reckon it would go?
That's a really good question. So left.
Left?
Left,
okay.
Yeah. I think because I've had putting woes for a while, I've had almost a bit of a mental and also I think a physical block. I know there's something that I can improve on. Don't know what it is with my putting stroke, but I can feel a sense of dread overwashing me when I go onto the green. Even if I've just hit a par 5 and 2, if I've got a 30-foot putt that I don't know how it breaks, it's just something that I need, something that builds confidence.
Yeah, sure. So it's essentially something that you can put some trust in, right? And then start to build confidence from there, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Sure.
And I've never had that. And I would almost say, if I look at my round and look at the things when I use Arcos and shot scope and things, there's always a big red mark by putting. I'm always losing strokes.
Sure.
And I actually think a lot of it is from 10 foot and in, because if I'm trying to get up and down from like this distance or so, I want to make one around at least. I don't make any. I'm always two putting from here.
Sure.
Straight left. Oh, I made it.
Right, buddy. So if you have a very quick look at this.
Okay.
When we're looking, so obviously there's a lot of parameters here that this will measure.
Yeah.
Today our focus, the most important ones will be face angle. So face angle at address, and then this sweet spot rotation, which is essentially measuring when you do hit it off center, how much that face twists, right? So one thing about your stroke, which is fantastic, is your face control is actually very efficient. So you can see each of these numbers are all under a degree.
Okay.
So what that means essentially is from sort of this 10-foot range, 1 degree error, so as you can sort of see on that aim board, is inside of the hole.
Okay.
If we're aiming inside of the hole and returning the face inside of the hole, that's very efficient in the sense of you're not requiring too much sort of torque or manipulation of the handle to get the ball to start on line.
Okay.
So for us, it could be exactly what we're sort of doing today. It could be a shaft focus. So if you look at this sweet spot rotation, you said to me, interestingly, right at the start, your tendency when you hit a bad one is to go left.
Yeah.
And your strike location is a hair towards the hill.
Okay.
And what that will create is a slight pull. So when you collide the putter into a still object like a ball, the putter essentially wraps itself around that strike, which then closes the face a touch.
Okay.
Which is what, for me, because as we saw that, I mean, you hit them a hair left.
Yeah.
They weren't a lot, kissing that left edge. I reckon that's definitely got to do with strike a bit.
Okay, interesting.
So this shaft could be
This could work
very
really
beneficial.
well.
Yeah.
It's funny you said that because I did feel like a few were out of the heel in those ones.
Perfect.
But I wouldn't ever have thought, without you saying it, that a heel strike would lead to a pull. I would almost think because of if you go on to actually ball striking with irons and stuff, that out of the heel would go right. Almost.
Yes. So with full swing, if you say think about a driver, the gear effect when you hit it off the heel, it will start a hair left, but then it will spin back to the right.
Right.
But with putting, we've got such a small launch window there that the ball doesn't really have too much time to spin.
Okay.
It then hits the floor, then just starts rolling as normal. So it will start left. It will have a hair of spin on it this way, but then it lands after 6 inches, then it's just back to rolling straight. So the tendency will be for it to start a bit left, but then it's just gonna stay there. It's not actually gonna, because it hasn't got the spin to curve it back like a driver would. That makes sense?
Yeah, interesting. Okay.
Right, so what we'll do now, I think if we put the laser down, just sort of get a really neutral playing field, get you to square your putter up to the laser, so we're aiming dead square to the hole, and then we'll put a couple of stickers on the face and we'll test a couple of strikes towards the toe and the heel, just to see how much rotation we get when you do hit it off centre.
Okay.
Obviously relative to the shaft we're going to move into. Does that sound all right?
Yeah, cool, let's do it. So we're going to hit a few off the toe here. What are we trying to find out with this?
So what we're trying to measure here, like you just said, we're going to hit a few off the toe, and what we're looking for is essentially how much the face essentially twists when you do misstrike it. Obviously, the focus of this shaft is the KBS shaft is trying to neutralise that, so we're just measuring what you get off just a traditional steel shaft in terms of rotation, because obviously that will affect direction compared to where we're going to be.
Cool.
So if you,
I'll try my best to hit it off the toe, something I haven't done in a while. That was off the toe.
Perfect.
That was
bang off the toe.
Yeah. See, I'm good at hitting it off the toe and off the heel, not the sweet spot. That was off the toe as well.
So you can see there, right? The second one, the face was a little bit square, so the ball started online. The first one, the face was very neutral and it's gone a bit right. But you can see what also sort of like an off-centre hit does for speed.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Drops off a lot of ball speed, right? Same as if you missed hit a driver or an iron off the toe, you're going to lose yardage from your flush run, right? So again, that will be something we'll be measuring up against that KBS. So I'll get you to do one more for me, bub.
Okay. So just dispersion with putting, that's an interesting thing. Caveat people don't really talk about, do they?
Definitely.
God.
Mate, you're great. Hitting it off the toe.
I'm great at being bad at golf, yeah.
Right, so what we'll do now, we'll swap the dot round and do a few off the heel.
Cool.
And see where we are there.
Wonderful. That was off the heel.
So again, just a hair left, lost a bit of speed. Definitely hit it off the heel, which is good.
And that felt actually like a pretty good stroke. Oh, God.
So you can sort of see from that test we've done with the toe and the heel strike how much sort of we lose. And strike when it comes to putting is definitely, or strike location is definitely something, as you said, that people sort of don't focus on.
No.
They will always think that they've got like something wrong with face control path. Predominantly path because it's the aspect or the parameter of putting that players can see.
Right.
But strike has a real big effect, as we can see there. So if you look at this number here, say that last one where you've hit it about 18% towards the heel relative to the middle, and how much that affects then that start line. So we're losing with about 3 degrees left there with a pretty neutral face and path.
Okay.
You know? So it's a real big sort of parameter to look at.
You saw that, didn't you? And when it moved, that moved quite considerably left. Is that because I'm putting side foot on the ball when I'm doing it? Because of the heel strike? Yeah,
that will predominantly be just as the ball's hit, it's just going to want to, like I said, wrap around that point. Very similar to anything sort of hitting a steel object. It's going to, at any sort of speed, it's going to want to wrap itself around it. So it's just forcing that ball a bit left.
Yeah.
So yeah, sort of what to be expected with a steel shaft. So like I said, hopefully this KBS will produce these numbers.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be interested to see. Okay, now, I say the fun part, this has all been pretty fun, but taking data out of the question, we've now got to choose a shaft. There are 7 colours involved here, and I'll tell you what, KBS have done a pretty good job here, haven't they, in all these colours?
I think they've given us a lot of options, right?
Yeah. Which one's your favourite?
I think for me, I'm probably just, I'm etching towards the yellow.
Oh yeah, So before this video was done, I had a little peek at all the colours, and I was thinking which one to go for. I kind of actually came into this like I had this chicken. I had no idea. But we've had some conversations, and I think it would be rude not to pick this one here. So this one is a wonderful green and yellow. It's an ode to Masters Week, as it is Masters Week this week. And I like blue, I like yellow, I like red. I've got a few putters already that have had white in them, so we're going to go for this one. We're going to fit it to the ping putter. That's going to be a work of art, isn't it?
100%.
Cool, let's get this fitted. Right, so we're now down in the workshop at Custom Golf Works. We're going to change these shafts out. Well, Mark, you're going to change these shafts out. What's the process in changing these? What you're actually going to do here?
Okay, well, first things first, we've got to establish tip diameter of the shaft that's going in versus tip diameter of the shaft that's already installed. Once we make sure they're the same, we'll obviously break the epoxy bond, heat the head up, pull the shaft off, prepare the tip on this, and then install, check weights, and then get the grip on, get it ready to go.
Cool. How long does that process take in terms of then setting the glue, drying and stuff like that? How long will it be until I'm ready to go?
So we use something called DP810, which is a really well thought out glue. It's 2 parts, but essentially it takes about 20 minutes to go off. So
Okay.
once we've got everything in place, got the grip on, grip will probably take a little bit longer than the head to go off.
Yep.
We'll be ready to go, yeah, as I say, probably 20, 25 minutes.
Cool. I'm eagerly awaiting my new putter. Let's do it. Right, so we have the finished product with the KBS Tour GPS shaft in it. This thing, and Jax, I don't know what you think, it's a bit of a work of art, isn't it? I wasn't too sure of the colours. I don't know what you think, but with this green in it, looks good, doesn't it?
I think it looks awesome, yeah. Stealthy, it looks different, but in a good way.
Yeah.
It's not too, what colour we chose relative to like a yellow, so I think it's not too in your face.
No.
It's pretty sleek, I like it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're going to test it out using the same features that we did in the initial test with the steel shaft. But I mean, instantly, we both felt a big difference, haven't we, in this shaft? I didn't think it would feel different even before putting, but it feels stiff.
Definitely, yeah. That's it. I can just, when I held it, and I'm pretty, you were very much the same, I can just sort of feel that stoutness definitely in the top third of the shaft.
Yeah.
Obviously the focus with the shaft was more the torque, but I can definitely feel the stiffness without it even really moving, so
Absolutely.
could be a very interesting test.
Yeah, I think what we mentioned before in that, so I struggled quite a lot from these length of putts. I think this could be a bit of a game changer for me because it should lead to, as in, more stability, all the words I've used before, stability, better centre strikes, and overall better dispersion, which means I could become, touch wood, could become a better putter.
Yeah.
So let's hit a few putts, shall we?
Let's get it.
Cool.
So what I'll get you to do, just do, as we did at the start, I'll get you to hit 10 sort of just targeting with no laser, then we'll go through the same tests, see what we get in terms of that inertia.
It's a good start.
It's a great
It's
start.
a good start. I mean, it's so weird how drastic different it feels. Like,
yeah.
we haven't changed anything apart from this shaft itself, and a lot of people would think it would make no difference, but it does genuinely feel like I'm hitting a completely different putter. That's another good roll.
That's awesome again, mate.
Yeah, that's another
Great
good
stuff.
roll, yeah.
Pure bud.
Yes.
In terms of that sort of stiffness we felt at the top of the handle there, how does that feel in motion?
It feels like I'm putting such a small stroke to it because it's a putter, but it feels like I'm aware as to where the club face is for the entire putting stroke.
Yep,
I know we've pushed one there, but it feels like I know. Let's say if I hit a really bad stroke here and was like that, I'd know where that is instantly because I could feel how stout this is. It would be so noticeable. Whereas beforehand, when we have another putter, the exact same putter there with the old steel shaft, I don't want to use whippy because it's a putter shaft, but you know what I mean?
Yeah,
because
yeah.
the kick point is so different. The balance point is like down there compared to down here. It's like I kind of know where it's giving me so far a little bit more confidence.
Sure. Well, I think that's exactly it when it comes to any sort of fitting, right? We're not necessarily trying to get you to, by either moving into a whole new putter or say the focus day of a shaft, we're not trying to get you to hit perfect shots all the time. We're just trying to tighten screws on dispersion, right? And that's exactly as you just described there. You had the sort of potential, if you hit a bad one, to miss by a fair amount.
Yeah.
Where we're missing by a degree and a half, which is, on any given day, depending on the break you're playing, they're going to get swallowed up, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously, for the focus of this shaft is obviously to reduce that twisting in the shaft if you hit it off centre. But I think potentially because of the stiffness of it and the awareness you're gaining through that, might give you just better strikes. You know, we might be closer to, based on these numbers that we're seeing so far, I reckon we've taken a good 50% of that sort of off-centre strike off, just from giving you more awareness of where the face is during the stroke, you know?
Yeah. Just aiming that way.
So again there, we have not had one that's higher than 10% towards either the toe or the heel in terms of strike, which is great. I think that's probably just due to giving you that stiffness, giving you a face-to-face awareness, right? And I know that's spoken about a real lot, but very important.
Yeah. I mean, they're all feeling like that one was really good. They're all feeling like they're out the middle every single time, and I think that's the most important thing here. If I'm hitting it like that, for me, but then we can look at afterwards as well. And then what's the difference when we're hitting out of the toe and out of the heel? What's the difference in deflection, as you said, inertia as well? That'll be a really interesting point. Let's have a look at the data then, shall we?
Right. So again, I think the focus for us is definitely going to be this sort of sweet spot rotation, right? Very similar numbers in terms of stroke. Like you said, we haven't changed anything. We've kept grip, length, lie, loft, all the same. We're just sort of looking at these numbers here.
Yeah.
Again, super similar numbers with your face and your path, but if you look at these sweet spot rotation
Wow,
marks.
okay, yeah.
So we say 4% towards the heel, 3% towards the heel. And what this is measuring, exactly like I said, is when you do hit it towards the toenail, how much it twists.
Yeah.
But we definitely are seeing less of those toe heel strikes,
Yeah.
again, because of that sort of face awareness you're gaining. And when you do hit it off the heel, the like that sort of deflection we're getting in the head is definitely down. I mean, we'll put it to the real test in a minute, but we can definitely see 7.5 as our highest, which is.
And before was it 9%, 10%?
We had at least 10.
Did we? Okay.
Yeah, and obviously when we put the actual proper test in for the toe and heel strikes, we were sort of creeping up to 20s and stuff. So
Yeah.
this is a very good start.
Yeah, definitely. Should we have a look at what happens when you hit some bad putts?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Cool. So toe strikes first, yeah, for this one. Let's see the difference.
So that's a great start.
Good roll.
So straight away, when we look at this sweet spot rotation, exactly the same, 20%, but look at the difference.
Yeah, absolutely. That was quite. We'll see how it goes for that, but that was in terms of deflection, right? That wasn't a deflection at all, was it? We saw actually a pretty good roll. That's a good one as well.
So that one there was heavily off the toe.
Yeah, I only missed the ball.
But it still went in. So like for us here,
Yeah, look at that. Was that 30?
34% towards
off
the
the
toe
toe
relative to the middle.
And the funny thing is, I reckon if we put the cameras and you didn't see the putter at all, you probably think that was right at the sweet spot.
100%.
That I went through.
Based on the roll, the speed, and obviously the
Yeah.
direction, that's a really good start.
Yeah. Oh, off the tungsten, right?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So like I said, we're looking at this inertia here, or the sweet spot rotation. This is going to measure the strike.
Yeah.
But if we look at, you've done a very good job of hitting them at the toe.
Thank you.
35. This one was, I think this was actually about this far from being a toe shank.
Yeah.
And it still went in, right?
Yeah.
9%, 34%, 20%, so there.
Wow.
I mean, as you can sort of see from all the other parameters there, everything else is the same, consistent with sort of face, path, acceleration, so it's...
The bad shots are now good shots,
This is awesome.
Which is cool. So let's do heel strikes.
Right, let's get the heel on.
And so last time it was off the heel, it was going left, correct?
So for you, exactly
Is it
that,
left, yeah.
face was just collapsing around that
Okay,
heel
so
strike.
let's see what happens with this. God, that was actually quite close though. I don't think I could have hit more off the heel if I tried.
I totally agree, based on that number there.
Yeah.
Still, I mean, just outside of a degree and a half, fair
Okay,
to say,
that's
which is not much at all.
No. So come on, please.
Go.
No! so off the heel.
Again, like you're looking at that sort of strike relative to the middle and how much we would lose in terms of speed. Again, degree and a half, which is not much at all.
No.
But speed-wise, I mean, I know it's sort of not super confident pace, but it's there.
Well,
It's not sure.
We're also playing it with extremes here, aren't we? Right.
100%.
I am really just trying to hit the worst putt known to man in terms of these strike patterns. That's another one.
Great stuff. You know, you've got the world's biggest sweet spot.
Yeah, I know. I'm the world's smallest putter, right?
The whole face is the sweet spot. That's awesome, buddy. That's harsh lip out.
That was harsh, yeah. It's these cruel Augusta greens.
That is. I'm very impressed with that. Like I said, I mean, to be fair, in terms of that degree that you're striking it towards the heel, it's very consistent.
Yeah.
Like the same amount towards the toe, and I mean, we're seeing very much the same in terms of that dispersion, right? That deflection is definitely way down. It'd be interesting. How did it feel? Did it, in terms of strike relative, did it feel when you hit it with the steel shaft?
Yeah.
You hit it off the heel or the toe. How was that awareness? Did it feel more off the toe with the steel shaft when you hit it off the toe, or did it feel?
That's a good question. I think if you base off my reaction, I remember when we first hit it, I was like shuddering almost in a way when it happened. When I'm hitting these off, I know they're off the toe, I know they're off the heel, but because of the way the ball is coming off the toe and the heel, it's not as much of an extreme feel, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So beforehand, obviously, when I was hitting it, it's coming off the toe and it's coming off the toe with a side spin. It feels horrible when the result is pretty bad. With this one, off the toe and off the heel, the difference is, yes, I can feel that I'm nearly hitting a toe or a heel shank, which is quite entertaining. But then the ball's rolling with what we could be classed as almost true roll, which is I'll be honest, it's a really weird feeling because it's almost like if you're off the middle of the fairway and you're hitting a shank and it's going 6 foot from the pin, it's like something's not right here. But it's strange. It will take a bit to get used to for sure. And I think that's one thing as well with this putter and the putter shafts. This combo, it's data driven. It's actually pretty exceptional. I really think it is actually I think it surprised me for sure, because I wasn't actually 100% sure what was going to happen here. But it's different. It's definitely different. Having a graphite shaft that is extremely stout, I think, although I'm putting very well here, there will probably be a little bit of a, I wouldn't say teething period, but the first few rounds may feel a bit strange.
Different,
because it is two worlds apart in a way, going from a steel to this. 100%. But if you get the reps in, let's say if I'm hitting this for a few hours and a week, when I then go onto the course, I'm positive that when I've got a 4 foot putt for birdie to win the club champs or something, I won't 3-putt it. Yeah. I'll actually hit it with a stroke and I'll be confident, even if my legs are shaking type of thing and I hit it on the heel and not the toe. We can see the deflection won't 100%. Be as bad. That'll hopefully hit the centre of the hole.
I think exactly that with anything like this, right? If regardless of what data we've collected, as we can see, data driven, performing absolutely fantastic. But if you've got something in your hand that allows you to build confidence,
yeah.
You know, as we started off today with, like you were saying, you're putting for you when you get on the green, you're immediately feeling not as confident as other areas of your game. If you've got something in the bag that helps you build confidence, and if you know that it's driven by data, like that in itself will free you up and allow you to be a lot more consistent on the greens.
Yeah.
With that stoutness in the shaft, we talk about, obviously when you hit it off the toe of the heel, it doesn't feel as drastic.
Yeah.
Is there any sacrifice to when you hit it off the middle? Does it feel as sweet, or does it dampen that
That's a really good question. I've noticed with the centre strikes, but I feel like it's rolling a little bit better. I don't think so. I think it just makes it all around a better putter. I won't say I've noticed that big of a difference at all with those centre strikes, but maybe because with the steel shaft, because there's a bit more of a wide variance in when you're hitting it off the toe, off the heel, maybe that feels better. It's almost like, I tell you what, it's almost like with the old putter, it's like I'm hitting it with a blade. Yes. And so then when you're hitting it in the middle, you're like, yes, you know, it's amazing. Yeah. It's 150. Whereas this time it's a bit more, I won't say game improvement, but because it's the exact same model looking down at a dress, but you've got more consistency there. So it's like out of the toe, out of the heel, out of the center, we're still getting good results either way. So I'm not there getting those endorphins when it's out of the centre. We're getting them either way, aren't we? We can still hold putts. But it's a really good question, actually. A really good question.
So essentially, we're sort of getting the best of both worlds, right? Yeah. We've got a sort of classic looking head that sort of feels more sort of player sort of focused, but with heaps of forgiveness.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. You could have, let's say, a blade putter or something that in today's world is not considered very forgiving. But then with the shaft, well, I'll actually say this ping putter, the head itself is tiny, isn't it?
Yes, 100%.
It's not something that you look at being like, boom, this is going to be like a spider putter. It's really forgiving. It's small. So if someone looked at this and I told you it's a forgiving putter, they'd probably tell me to get out the door and try a different sport, right? But we've seen with the data results there, this putter is now, by changing the shaft from steel to the KBS to GPS, it's made it forgiving. A really weird statement, but the data backs it up. I'd be interested to hear your guys' thoughts on this, because I mean, the data that we've seen today has actually been pretty incredible. But just doing a shaft change and making this putter be, we'll say it was a good putter before, but now it's a great putter. We've seen the results, we've seen the roll here, and I'm interested to take it out on the course as well to see what happens. So let me know what you think down in the comments, from this putter to also the different colours. Which one's your favourite? And let me know what you think about the price as well, because it's pretty competitive. What do you think, Jackson? Do you think you're going to put it in your bag?
I think based on this, it'd be very, very rude not to give it a try. I think it's definitely got a chance of going in 100%.
Absolutely, good stuff. Guys, if you are new to Golf Magic, smash that subscribe button. And if you have any other questions, let me know down in the comments. Me and Jackson will catch you guys at the next video.